Washington State sees more than 1,000 small earthquakes every year, but experts say the big one could hit at any time, bringing serious danger and disaster to our area. Tonight, Perella Lewis shows us the potentially life-saving ways you could prepare and the simple thing you should do now to stay safe if that massive earthquake ever strikes.
Washington is earthquake country.
Because of a fault line that runs off the coast called the Cascadia Subduction Zone, our state is vulnerable to strong earthquakes. Taking time to prepare now will help if the big one hits.
There's going to be loss of communication, loss of power, especially for larger earthquakes like magnitude 8 and 9 events that we know will happen here at some point in the Pacific Northwest and Washington State.
The phone lines will likely be tied up, and first responders are given priority to get emergency calls through. So send text messages instead. They often go out even if phone calls don't.
Neighborhood preparedness is really critical, especially in the immediate aftermath of an earthquake.
In events across the world, neighbors often end up being the first responders, so having a plan in the community where you live is critical.
Having a minimum of 3 to 7 days worth of food is really important, especially if you've got little kids at home. Make sure that you've got, maybe if you have a kit, go back and look at formula, for example, if you've got that in there. Make sure you're stocked up on diapers, things that you can't get to the grocery store.
Remember, when disaster strikes, it can take days before emergency vehicles can get to you. So stock up on supplies now. And if you take medication, keep your prescriptions filled and protected.
If you've got refrigerated medications, maybe you want to go out in advance of a power outage or winter weather or earthquake and buy some cold freezer packs so that you can take your medication that's in a refrigerator, move it to a freezer until that's no longer cool, and then break the ice pack and keep it in a cooler, for example.
Another way to prepare is by making sure you have emergency supplies inside of your car. You can see here in the trunk I've got extra shoes, I've got warm clothes, even an emergency shovel, plenty of bottled water, some perishable snacks for me and maybe another person or two, even some extra pet food for our dog. So the items can be whatever you think, but basically things that will help you survive a natural disaster if you were stuck inside of your vehicle for several hours or even a couple of days.
Of course, flashlights and extra batteries are a must as well, but if you're not in a vehicle when an earthquake happens,
we always recommend, if you are beginning to feel the ground shake, first thing you want to do is drop, cover, and hold on.
Get under a desk or table if you can. If you're in a grocery store, however, move to the center aisle, away from shelves and falling items. And what if you're in an outdoor sporting event?
Especially with football season upon us, if you find yourself at CenturyLink Field, same kind of thing, drop, cover, hold. Seats.
Because tsunamis can happen 30 minutes after a larger earthquake hits.
During the earthquake shaking, you're practicing drop, cover, hold, but then immediately evacuate inland or to high ground.
The important thing is to have a plan and talk it over with your family and community sooner rather than later.
It's going to give you peace of mind because you're going to know that you've done these things well in advance of an earthquake and be prepared when the time comes.
Perella Lewis, Washington's Most Wanted.
Again, earthquake experts also recommend checking with your insurance company, as most homeowners and renters insurance does not cover earthquakes. If you'd like more information about ways you can prepare, go to shakeout.com.